Hi there, the new updated Kindle Basic is the perfect device for anyone who wants to experience digital reading. As a self-proclaimed bookworm, I was never a fan of the basic model, but with the new updates and refreshes, I have to say I am thoroughly impressed with the new model. Let's start by talking about the price of this device. The starting price is $99, which makes it the cheapest Kindle that you can buy, the most entry-level version. And if you want to get the version without advertisements, you have to pay about $20 extra on top of that for a total of $119. Now that lock screen advertisement option is only available in certain countries like the US. For some reason, we are forced to pay extra money to remove ads. It's really frustrating, but for a low-end model like this, I guess I can understand where Amazon is coming from. Now, just because this is the lowest priced Kindle, it does not make it any less exciting to use. One more thing I should mention is the storage capacity of this device is actually 16 gigabytes as a standard configuration. The Kindle Paperwhite actually only had 8 gigabytes for the longest time. They just added a 16 gig version when this device came out. So it goes to show that even though this is the lowest end Kindle, you still get a lot of the core features, if not all the main features of all the higher end Kindles. Now, storage capacity specifically is not something that most people should care about when it comes to reading books. Books don't take up much storage at all. Where it does come in handy though is when it comes to audiobooks. This device does have Bluetooth support, so you can pair some speakers or some headphones wirelessly to your Kindle for audiobooks. Personally, I like to listen to my Audible books directly on my phone through the Audible app. But if you prefer to have one device for all your books and audiobooks, you can use your Kindle Basic for that purpose, and having 16 gigs of storage will definitely help with that. The other option you have to choose from when buying your Kindle Basic is which color you want. There's two color options, black and denim. As you can see here, I opted for the denim blue option, and I have some mixed feelings about this denim. I thought it would be a bit of a subtle blue, a darker blue, but the denim blue is actually a very in-your-face kind of blue. The denim color definitely makes the plastic stand out way more, especially on the bezels when you're reading text on the screen. It definitely kind of has a distracting feel to it compared to a plain black color. If I looked back on this and had the choice to make it again, I would probably get the black version, especially if this is your primary Kindle that you're going to be using every single day. The black color might be easier on your eyes while reading books on the screen. One other interesting note about the color is the blue model, the denim color over here, actually uses less recycled materials than the black option. The black color has 75% recycled plastics in the Kindle, whereas the denim color only has 30%. So if eco-friendliness is important to you, the black color also helps there. Speaking of the plastic of this device, let's spend a minute talking about the build quality and exterior of the Kindle Basic. This is definitely a plasticky device. That is how they're able to sell this device at a cheaper price point compared to the other Kindles. They're using cheaper materials for the build quality, and it definitely shows. It isn't the worst thing in the world. Holding it feels very nice actually. It's pretty durable. I don't feel uncomfortable using this device without a case on it. It just feels like something I can throw around without worrying too much about it. The plastic definitely also attracts fingerprints. This, the type of plastic they use is probably not the highest quality. On the blue color especially, I see fingerprints quite prominently throughout the device. So if that's something you're worried about, you'll probably have to be wiping down your Kindle pretty often to keep it nice and clean. One thing I appreciate about the new Kindle Basic is the bezels are definitely a bit smaller. The device as a whole actually is more compact just by the littlest slightest margin compared to the old Kindle Basic. So that's definitely a big welcome advantage to having a new design like this. Big props to Kindle for keeping the screen size the same, but making the plastic bezels smaller so it becomes more portable and compact to hold. One other disadvantage of having a Kindle Basic compared to the higher end Kindles is this device is not waterproof. So if water resistance is important to you, if you like to read in the bathtub or by the pool, this device is not a good option for you. One thing they did add though that makes this device on par with all the other new Kindles is they added USB-C. USB-C is my favorite addition to all the new Kindles coming out in the past year. It makes charging our Kindles so much easier. I can use the same charger I use for my iPad, for my computer. All those same cables work now with my Kindle. This device does not have wireless charging. That is something that is reserved right now for the signature edition Kindle Paperwhite, but I don't really care about that too much. The USB-C edition by itself is a very big advantage. The battery life on this device is expected to last for weeks. I have not been able to test that yet. I've only had this device for about a week now, but so far so good. I haven't had any issues with that. If I have any issues with battery life, I'll be sure to leave an update down in the comments below. One thing that does annoy me about the Kindle Basic in terms of the exterior of the device is the power button. I've actually noticed this quite a bit. This is one of the only Kindles I use right now that doesn't have a case on it. I was very intentional about that. I wanted to use this device completely bare bones as if I was buying it as an entry-level model, and the power button is actually getting really annoying. You see, the power button is actually located at the bottom of the device, and that is the worst place you can place a power button. When you're putting it in your backpack, for example, this power button gets pressed accidentally all the time. I've experienced this firsthand when I'm commuting on the train every morning, and that becomes really frustrating because I'm finishing up my reading session, my stop is coming up, I put it in my backpack, and I see the screen light up in the backpack, so I take it back out, rotate the device, put it back in. It's this never-ending shuffle of the screen turning on and off because the power button keeps getting pressed. Now, if you buy a case for this device, you don't have to worry about it because the case will turn the Kindle off and on when you wake it up by lifting up the flap and putting it back down. So that is one advantage, but you have to pay extra money for the case. I really wanted to buy this Kindle as a complete entry-level model, and that is one very big annoyance I'm seeing. If you don't commute, if you just leave your Kindle on the table when you're not using it, it's fine. But any kind of pocket or backpack in terms of traveling, this may become an issue. Next up, I want to talk about the biggest upgrades you're going to find with the Kindle Basic. But before we jump into those, I have a quick note for anyone who's buying a Kindle for the first time. I bought my first Kindle during the pandemic in 2020, and it completely changed my life. After using a Kindle now for about 2 years, there are several things I learned that I wish I knew earlier in my digital reading journey. And I actually wrote a short book outlining all those little tidbits. It's called Supercharge Your Reading. It's a really short book. You can finish the whole thing in less than 1 hour, and I outline all the steps you need to know for reading more books on your Kindle and for also taking notes on your Kindle so you can actually remember the things that you read. If that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave a link for the book down below. Now, the biggest upgrade to the Kindle Basic 2022 model is the screen. We finally have a 300 ppi resolution display. This is a big upgrade from the previous model, which had almost half the resolution. That last Kindle Basic looked like mashed potatoes. Now we have some crispy, sharp text on the new Kindle Basic. 300 ppi is the same resolution that we see on all the higher end e-readers, so having that on the lowest end Kindle is a huge selling point, especially because it's one of the most important things when it comes to reading books. When you're reading books, the one thing that you want to have is clear text to make it feel like you're reading an actual book. The other big selling point of the Kindle Basic screen is actually the fact that it's the smallest Kindle screen that you can buy right now at 6 inches. That's almost a full inch smaller than the Kindle Paperwhite. Some people say that's a disadvantage. To me, I say that's a big advantage. In reality, it's a personal preference, but I actually think having a smaller screen makes it much more portable and fun to use. I actually really enjoy being able to flip pages quicker compared to my bigger screen Kindles. It makes me feel like I am reading faster. That's all in my head. It's not actually a thing, but just the act of having a smaller screen is much more portable. I'm flipping things much quicker. It just feels so much more fun to use when you compare it to a bigger screen. If you really wanted to, the 6-inch screen will probably fit easily in your pocket if you want to travel around without any kind of backpack or anything like that, which is super fun to think about. Having a portable screen and portable form factor makes a big difference. Now, when it comes to actually turning pages on the Kindle Basic, there is one notable feature that seems to be missing as of right now from this device, and those are page turn animations. On the Kindle Paperwhite that came out last year, they added this new feature called page turn animations. It basically makes this little fun animation every time you turn the page in a book. I personally really love using that. On the Kindle Basic, I was really hoping they would add that same feature because it has the new updated screen, but they're choosing not to include that feature. I have a feeling this is not because the hardware is not capable of doing it. it, I think they're intentionally locking this feature off in the software because they want to reserve that for the higher end Kindles as a selling point for those. It's not really an important thing to have when it comes to reading books. It's a nice to have, but it's kind of sad that we don't have that on the Kindle Basic. Now, what's more important though than page turn animations is actually something that I think is the biggest upgrade to the Kindle Basic, just on par with the screen resolution upgrade, and that is actually the speed and use of the Kindle Basic. The previous Kindle Basic was so annoying to use. That device was sluggish, it was slow, navigating around menus took forever. I really disliked using that device. Once you were in a book, it got the job done, but when you were using it for anything else, like changing a setting or downloading a book, whatever it might be, it just felt like a very slow experience. They completely transformed that with the Kindle Basic this year. Highlighting text, taking notes, going to new menus, opening up settings, doing whatever you want on this Kindle Basic is just something that works without any sort of issue. I don't think twice about it. It actually surprises me how much of an improvement they made with the speed of this device. I am so grateful that they did that. This device is something I can easily recommend to people now because using it is just so much more functional. Now, going back to the screen of this device, the Kindle Basic does not have a flush glass screen. The Kindle Paperwhite, the next model up from the Basic, does have that flush glass screen. It makes it feel more premium, but I actually think for the Kindle Basic, not having a flush screen is not a bad thing at all. I actually think it's an advantage. Through the many YouTube comments that I've gotten about this topic, I've learned that having a flush screen actually reduces the crispiness of the text. And on the Kindle Basic, I can definitely confirm this thing is crispy. Reading the text on this device just feels so sharp, even more sharp than my Kindle Paperwhite. You definitely lose out on some of that premium feel without having that flush screen, but honestly, that trade-off is something that is totally worth it. You're saving money on the price and you're getting more sharpness on the text, and you're losing out on that premium feel, but the functionality is increasing, and for reading books, you actually care more about that text than anything else. Now, the one thing that I have to say is probably the biggest bummer of the Kindle Basic is reading this thing in the dark. This device looks stunning when you're reading it in the right lighting conditions. Like right now, I have all these nice lights turned on, and reading on this device feels so clean and clear. The second you go in the dark or turn off some lights, you lose out on that text crispiness. This is because the Kindle Basic does not have any warm light adjustments. They have no warm light on this device at all. And I think that's a crucial feature that's missing on this device. If you read at night, having that orange tint when you're reading makes a big difference. It makes it feel like a natural book, and it makes it much easier on your eyes. On the Kindle Basic, the second the lights turn off, you definitely feel like a glowing screen is coming into your face. It gets the job done, it works, but it does not feel as pleasant as having that adjustable warm light. They do offer dark mode on the Kindle Basic, which is a great alternative to having the adjustable warm light. If you're reading at night, I would strongly recommend using dark mode. It makes reading on the Kindle Basic a lot nicer and more pleasant and natural to use. But if you're reading it during the daytime, you won't have any kind of issues. This device looks great. Now, if you enjoyed this video about the Kindle Basic, I want to encourage you to check out my other video that shows you 18 tips and tricks for using your Kindle that you may have not heard of before. Link for that video on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.